Okay, we'll get started, and hopefully the others will join later. At the moment, there is no one in the ITS lab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through whatever I have prepared for you for today. But today's major contribution comes from you guys, the students, because you have been each been requested to prepare your PowerPoint slides on mobile cloud computing and share with us what you have found uh, within 1 week of research, as this was assigned last Thursday. So probably all of you can see me and hear me. Are you able to hear me properly, or should I put my volume up a bit? And the other thing is there any echo, or are you able to hear me clearly?
Okay, it's okay.
It's okay? Anyone else respond, please?
Clear.
Say it's okay. Can hear you.
Thank you, Ashnil. Thank you, Ashnil. Okay. Shalmendra and Rima, you need to put your microphone on mute. Thank you. All right. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you what I have, the resources for this week and other things that have been placed on your Moodle course page. So to be able to share whatever you have on your screen, you will go down and you will find this share button. You will click on that, and then it will give you all the windows that you have open, right? And what I want to share with you is the Moodle page. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click on share. And the page comes up. Are all of you able to see this page now? Your course Moodle page?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can?
Yes.
All right. So nothing much in terms of under the course overview, course outline. Under course assessments, I have placed the two resources for assistance with your research paper. The first one is APA style guidelines for article submission. And these are the guidelines that are for authors that submit the research papers to my journal. Okay. And so basically, it tells you how you can do in-text citations in APA style, how you can write references in APA style, and how to write the references if there is one author, if there is 3 or more authors, or if the article is from a website, or if the article is from a book, or if the article is from a journal, and so forth. And then also most of you respected, sorry, I'm sure you respect me. Most of you requested what style you should follow and how should you write papers. I mean, this is again a major requirements. For example, you know, some journals, some publishers, IEEE, for example, is one of the journals that I'm associated with, and it has a very unique requirement of how the papers need to be formatted. This journal wants the papers to be in 2 columns and the references to be numbered. And for in-text citation, instead of saying Gounder 2018, you just reference the number. For example, if I was within the reference, I appeared 3rd, so my number is 3. So in the in-text citation, you have 3. However, most of the journals, the papers that I'm associated with, including journals published by Springer, Taylor and Francis, IGI Global, Elsevier, and others, most of them recommend APA style. Only IEEE wants it in a different style. And in some cases, not for this course, but in the future, some journals, some conferences will say that no, we don't do APA style, we do MLA style, or we do some other style. So you'll have to go and look it up and learn about this style. But for our course, what I'm recommending is APA style guidelines for in-text citations and references. And your paper template, your paper format should be something like this. Again, this is for my journal. Any author that submits an article to my journal, and I'm the editor-in-chief of 3 journals and section editor of 1, and all of them needs to have it in this style. So I'm going to open the document and briefly speak to you about it. Are you able to see the document that I've just opened, or do I have to share this again? Can you see the document I've just opened?
No.
Probably not. Okay. So I'll have to go on new share and then find where I have opened that. Where did it go? Where did it go? Here. And share that. Okay. You can see it now?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So if you look at the way the paper is formatted, is you have a title over here, author name, author affiliation, and country. And then forget about this, because for most of you, your English is quite good, because you have studied at the University of the South Pacific, and people in Fiji speak English quite well. Let me tell you again, people in Fiji speak English quite well, because I have lived and worked and taught in a number of different countries. So be proud of that. So you're moving on, your abstract will be font Arial, size 14, all caps. The body will be Times New Roman, 12 point left justified. Okay, and other guidelines. Your keywords would be like that. Your subheadings will be Arial, 12, bold, and all caps. And likewise, you can follow all the styles. Okay. Likewise, you can follow. So main heading, subheading, sub-subheading, title, author name, then abstract and subheadings, and whatever is within that, subheadings, level 2, level 3, going on. Then you come down to references. Again, the heading is that, but the rest is Times New Roman, left justified. And one of the things that is a commonly overlooked with the authors writing papers for using the APA referencing style is that the references are sorted in alphabetical order. Okay. And again, there's more information on how do you reference a book with one author, with two author, and so forth and so on, of edited book, report, and all this. So I'm going to go back to the page, share it again. So these are the 2 documents that have been loaded since we last met, guidelines and the template. Moving down, what I have done is, this was already there. So now you have the ability to go through the lecture, watch the lecture again on YouTube and on Moodle. And if you click on this folder, what you can see is that there are 3 different files. Okay, that large one file has been chopped into 3 different files so that we are able to upload it to Moodle, because the maximum size of a file that you can upload on Moodle is 60 megabytes only. So I have decided to go along with this and keep this, because what I'm thinking is that you might want to download it and keep it on your hard disk to watch later. Okay, because every time you connect and watch online on YouTube, you are using your bandwidth. So going back, are all of you able to view this? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So I hope you have started with the labs and you are getting along with the labs.
Yes.
On a weekly basis. What is happening? Did I touch something? I must have touched something. I must have touched annotate. Okay. And under week 2 is the same. What I have done is something is happening here. We might get disconnected or something. Anyway, again, the lecture on YouTube and the lecture on Moodle. 2 labs. It wasn't there since the last time we met. HTML, importing web content, and embedding social media. This week's lecture activity was already placed there. And what I've done is I've introduced 2 labs on XML because I have been told that some of you have done certain courses where you used XML, or you are well versed with XML and you are able to write XML codes and render them in the browsers. Whereas some of you have not even been introduced to HTML and have no idea what XML is. So these labs are based on the premise that you have no idea what XML is, and you are going to start from scratch. So if I open this lab and I show it to you, I would like to show you a shortcut, and I would also like to ask for assistance. I'm trying to do something that I cannot get from students already connected, if they have faced this problem and if they know the solution. So let me open that for you.
New tab.
And share that. Here it is. Okay, so it's basically this one is introduction to XML, and it's not. I have done my best to avoid too many words. It's mostly one-line words for easy understanding, and a lot of codes. So when you go down, there will be examples which I want you to try. For example, the very first one is an books XML example that is going to render into the browser the names of books, the title of books, and the book category, as well as it will generate onto the web who wrote which book. So what I was suggesting, instead of you typing all this, what you do is you copy it, right? And then you open Notepad++. At the moment, I'm using Notepad++, and this is where I'm having problems. So when you paste it here, it all becomes one line. Were you able to see this? Notepad++?
Yes.
So it all becomes one line, and this is not really good. So the other option is, I've worked with the HTML editors. We call them cute HTML editors because they are very colorful, they're very fanciful, and copying and pasting is probably the similar to the way you copy from the source. And so at the moment, my option is to go and manually take them and arrange them according to different lines. And this is what I'm trying to avoid. So I'm thinking this is the Notepad++ problem, or maybe I am not doing something right. So what is what? What is happening? Anyone out here can tell me what is happening or what is going on? Or do I have to live with it? If I have to live with this, then probably what I'll do is I'll look for one of these XML editors. There are many XML editors, and hoping that with one of them we can copy and paste, and I don't have to go and then arrange it into lines and spaces and indenting. Anyone out there has faced this problem or can help me out? Anyone at all?
So you asking about something that automatically indents.
May I speak a bit louder, please?
You're wanting something that will automatically indent your.
Yeah. So that means there is no way around this. This is a Notepad++ problem, isn't it? We have to find another editor that will take it originally from copy to paste.
Yes.
Yeah, because the thing was that one of the things that the students can do is they can go and type all this. They can go and type all this, but as you go down and in the next labs, there's a lot of code to write, and your students will start hating me after a while. Okay, you shouldn't hate me. This is for learning purposes, but come on, this is the day of technology. We are using technology to make our work easier. Why should SAM give us something to make our work harder? So in the meantime, what I want you to do is just go along with what I have been doing. What you do is you open the labs, you copy all the codes, and you paste it in Notepad++, and then you space it out. I'm sure even if it is not spaced out and not separated line by line, it will still work. Notepad++ is that intelligent. But do experiment, and in the meantime, if you come up with some XML editor that will enable us to have our original copy and the same within the paste, then please get back to me. Okay, so I'll take you back to the Moodle course page. And there is so in lab 3.1 you are being introduced to XML, and in lab 3.2 you are being introduced to XML document object model, and I think that should be good enough, and I'll have more XML labs available for you by next week. The other thing, if we have time, that I'm going to share is a PowerPoint presentation on XML. That looks at mostly in detail about whatever is in the practical labs, but more importantly, it looks at the document type definitions. That is part of your assignment, and I hope to get labs ready on document type definitions by next week. Okay, so okay, there's someone on chat. Okay, yes, there is a suggestion over here from Shalmendra that says that we can use NetBeans 8.2, which automatically does the formatting after copying, pasting XML code. So my question is this available for free? Is it free and open source? Because the last thing I want to do, or you guys want to do, is buy any software.
Yes, sir, it's free.
It is free.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going to investigate that. S. Prakash says, how about changing the language of Notepad++ to XML? Okay, let me see. Let's go. Let's share. Let's find the Notepad++. And where do I do that? Because I've already done that. It is already set to XML. Not? Maybe it was not. Ooh, I'm getting excited. Maybe it was not. So let me go and find that code again. Copy it again. Copy heaps of code. So excited now. Oh no, stop. Stop. Yeah, this is one. Yeah, we were looking at the weather one. So copy heaps of code. Let's say up to there. Go back to Notepad. Paste it. Okay, try again. First, set the language to XML and then paste it. Now, it's already XML, not happening. Try it once more. Language, set to XML and paste. And now it is not happening anyway. There's some more chats. I know you just save the file as XML. Worked for me. Okay, all right. Okay. Let me see. File, save as, I'll call it weather. And then what I do? Open it again. Close it. Open. Where is weather? This one? No. Anyway, I know that definitely you will come up with solutions, but we don't have really use Chrome browser. Okay. we really don't have much time to experiment. So I will leave it. I will leave it at that. And do email to me if you find a workable solution or a cute XML editor where we don't have to do all this crap. So thank you for your contribution, and I'm sure most of you are saying that it is working for you, so that's good. I'm sorry, the internet connection here is not very stable. Sorry about that. So what we are going to do is we'll continue with the rest of today's proceedings, where you guys will be presenting to the rest of us a 4-5 minute sharing of slides of whatever you have got for mobile cloud computing. So even if I get disconnected, you guys continue because you are sharing with each other. And once I connect back, I will catch up. Okay? And it is not a problem. The problem at the moment is at my end. My side of internet connectivity is not very stable. Your side is okay, and everything is getting recorded at the USPN. So we are all good, not to worry. So who wants to go first? Once again, I'm going to show you, this is where you click to share your presentation, PowerPoint slide, and to show your video, and your microphone should be on when you are speaking. Yes, Kunal, you can go first. Thank you thank you for volunteering. The rest of you, please your microphone on silence. Kunal is going to share whatever he has got on mobile cloud computing.
Is everyone able to hear me?
I am.
Okay, let me just try.
The rest of you, can you hear Kunal?
Yes, Kunal.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes. And one more confirmation, if you can hear Kunal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We would also like to see you, Kunal.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay.
Right. Okay. Yes, you have shared your screen. That is great. But you still have not enabled the video of yourself. Right. Okay. We are all good to go. Great.
Let me just see. Okay. So basically, it's a recap of what we did last week and what I was able to learn regarding cloud computing, since I'm new to this topic. The first slide is introduction on mobile cloud computing. So basically, mobile cloud computing is focused on three main service areas, and the three service areas are service. Okay, wait a minute. 1 minute. Okay, and the three main service areas are software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. So I'll explain these three services and give an example on this. So software as a service, what is it? It's when a provider hosts application on its servers and makes them available to its subscribers or its customers over the internet. The users do not have to worry about the host system configuration. Most common example of this would be Office 365 or Gmail. For those who have used Office 365, is basically where the mails and files are stored on the cloud. What this does is actually it saves the memory storage of the computer, where the user can store their mails and files on the cloud server as a storage. Yeah. The next service is the platform as a service. This is where the provider provides the software and hardware resources to the users for application development over the internet again. This actually helps the users prevent from hassle of installing hardware and software on their own machines. So what this does is actually saves the users some, saves users money because they don't have to worry about installing new hardware or new software on their machine. A good example of this would be Google App Engine. What this allows is users to develop applications and execute them over the Google App Engine without the worry of system resources or like RAM or hardware or editing softwares. Now, the third service is the infrastructure as a service, that's IaaS. This is where the provider offers a virtual computational environment for users through the internet again. Now, this virtual computers includes hardware, software, storage, servers, and also networking components. And now the example of this would be that I was able to find over the internet is Amazon Elastic Compute, that's Amazon EC2. This allows users to rent computers to run on their own. This allows users to rent computers and run their own computer applications. And basically, they can install hardware, softwares, even configure and have some network configuration on it as well. Now, with these three services, it has 5 main characteristics. I would say these characteristics are sort of like benefits as well to mobile cloud computing. The first one that we see is on-demand self-service. Now, what this means is cloud actually allows users to enable computing resources when and as required. So, for example, would be let's say a customer is using software as a service or platform as a service, and while the customer is developing an app, and they might require so maybe let's say more computation power or RAM configuration, they do not need to consult IT to enable this for them. They can actually enable it themselves. So that's basically on-demand self-service. And next would be resource pooling. Now, what resource pooling does is it allows cloud service provider to pool its computational services to save more clients. But this means is basically the servers can be provided at different locations, but the user will not see it. See the servers at different locations. They will see it as a single machine serving the client. So this increases processing power and memory, and also increases storage. Now, the third characteristic or benefit that we can say is broad network access. The ability of this is to access resources in a private cloud network using wide range of devices. So what this enables is that users can actually access cloud services not just by a computer, but they can also use these on the smartphones, laptops, tablets, PCs. A good example would be like Gmails or even our useful emails. You can access it on your smartphones, or you can use it through your laptop. Now, the fourth characteristic or benefit I'd say would be rapid elasticity. What this does is it provides the ability to scale resources up and down based on the computer need. This is basically in terms, it means like, let's say if a client is using cloud as a storage, and now they might require more storage, so they can easily increase the storage, or if they do not require more storage, they can actually decrease their storage capacity. And the last one is the managed service. This is when a cloud service provider monitors, controls, and reports on the usage by the the consumer. The consumer actually pays for the resources and the duration of usage. This is basically the user only has to pay for the services and the duration that he has used the computer for. They do not have to actually buy and actually have a computer at their residence where they might use it for a few days and the other days is not used. So this is where the consumer saves money. Now, the next slide actually focused on some of the challenges, mobile cloud computing security challenges that's out there. I'll try and cover, let's say, a few of it. There's about 6 or 7 of those. I'll see if I can cover maybe 3 or 4, depending on the time. The first one is the data security and the data privacy. Now, since data is stored and processed with cloud service provider, and there's always a threat that data loss.
You get 1 more minute extra.
Sorry?
There's only 1 more minute left for you.
Okay, sure. So yeah, I'll just cover data security and privacy. Since data is stored and processed with cloud service provider, there's always a threat of data loss and data being copied or stolen. At the same time, data violation could happen. Another common would be, let's say, mobile cloud application security. Cloud based on mobile apps are vulnerable to malware attacks such as viruses, trojans, which can affect the integrity and the data application. So there are, like I said, there are the advantages of the cloud services, and there are also disadvantages. So my slides basically was based on 2 journals. These are the ones that I was able to get the information from, and the images I was able to get it from Google Images. Thank you.
Thank you, Kunal.
Okay. Are there any students in the ITS lab? Probably no student. Who wants to go next? Shalmendra, you want to go next?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Hmm.
Please keep it between 5 to 6 minutes.
Yes, sir. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so
Shalmendra. Go ahead.
yeah. So this is my title slide. Very quickly, I'll just go ahead with this. Basically, what mobile cloud computing is, it's basically a combination of, it's a combination of mobile computing and mobile internet together with cloud computing. So you guys would already know about cloud computing. The difference between what mobile cloud computing is, basically that the devices using the services is basically the mobile devices. It basically what it does is provide a convenient and rapid method for users to access cloud computing resources effectively using mobile devices. So I've just got a screenshot for you guys. So what it does is basically the mobile users. We all know the limitations of mobile phones. Basically, if we do not have S9 Plus or any of that sort, we all would know how difficult it is at times to use apps. So what mobile cloud computing does is basically it shifts the computing, extensive computing calculations and all those things over to the cloud atmosphere, so that it allows the mobile devices to basically use that, use it as a service, basically. So that is what the figure that is showing the mobile cloud architecture. Basically, the mobile networks using the internet, it connects to the cloud services and basically uses all these application servers and the VM service, basically. The next slide that I have is basically the benefits and the challenges as well. First, the benefits. It overcomes the limitations of mobile resources. Similar to basically the apps, some gaming, mobile learning, etc. All these applications, it basically shifts over to the cloud service, cloud engine. So your mobile basically is doing less work in a way. What it also does is extends your battery life because the extensive computing is shifted to the cloud atmosphere. Increased security level. This is a bit confusing, I would say, saying that increased security level. What I'm trying to say here is basically monitoring by a central security system. So that is what it can be as a benefit. And then it's definitely a breakthrough for mobile commerce and mobile learning as well, so, which I believe these are the latest trending things coming for the mobile technologies. There are many other benefits. Basically, what I've used, the articles that I've used, I've got all these. And then looking over to the challenges, the data delivery, accessibility. We know that mobiles, the device capability of, it's not a stable connection at times. It depends on your location as well. So data delivery becomes a challenge. Task division, no particular algorithm for multitasking threads. So there needs to be there's a future work going on where basically the tasks can be divided, providing elasticity. And then the cloud computing infrastructure initially is set up for services to PCs. So definitely the difference is there using the actual PC device. in comparison to the mobile device. So definitely it's limited to its own capabilities in terms of hardware constraints. Web-based interfaces, not particularly for mobile devices, thus the overhead for mobiles. And definitely the trust security is definitely a major challenge for users to shift to mobile cloud computing since internet is involved. So these are some of the bigger challenges that mobile cloud computing is facing at this point in time. And basically these are the references that I've used. Thank you.
Thank you, Shalmendra. Very well done. Excellent sharing of whatever you have.
Thank you,
I
sir.
think Dipesh wants to go next. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I very quickly prepared some. Can you all see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. I start. So mobile computing. So mobile computing, to my understanding, is basically computing and storing and using all the services and applications which are in a cloud somewhere stored. So we are accessing those applications. The storage and the processing part, which happens in the cloud. This is this moves the computational power to be more faster, because in the cloud we have huge servers with so many memories, and in our mobile phones we have limited resources. So therefore through mobile computing we can push all the processing part to the cloud for faster processing. And this can be advantages. The phone's battery won't get exhausted and the processing won't get slower. And cloud mobile computing is a centralized processing which is on the cloud, and some of the security aspects that it has, that companies' critical data will be released to a third party, which is the cloud service provider. So which most companies in Fiji don't trust these cloud providers, as there can be breach in confidential data. So that's why plenty companies in Fiji are having private clouds instead of the external global public cloud. Okay, now I'll just briefly tell some of the real world examples of using mobile cloud computing. For instance, the first one is the approval of payments when a certain employee is not at work. For example, the main finance guy is not at his work. So with the use of the mobile computing technology, he can approve the work orders which are made in the organization. So this will allow formal flow of information rather than waiting for him to come back to his desk and do the approvals. The other part I'll be sharing is, for example, when we want to capture critical data in Fiji context, as we know that there is not good internet connections in some remote locations. So with the mobile applications, we can capture these informations and store it in the DB inside the mobile itself using SQLite database. And if we want later on, we can transfer this information to the actual server when we get internet connection. So this is very applicable to Fiji, as we want to go to some of these rural places and capture the data where we don't have internet connection. So mobile computing can be helpful, and this will also prevent data loss, since we are also storing some of the data in the mobile itself because of these connectivity issues. And that's all I have for you guys, and these are the references. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dipesh. That was very informational, and thank you for sharing whatever you had with us. Who wants to go next? Sumit, you can go next.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, colleagues. Today I'll be showing you some of the applications on mobile cloud computing. As we know that there are different forms of applications which mobile cloud computing offers. Some of the basics ones, email, where it allows users. It's one of the most common examples of mobile cloud computing, people sending emails across to each other. And we have mobile health applications where we track our heart rate, we track our footsteps as well. So it's also a form of mobile cloud computing. Gaming is one of the most common stress relieving mobile cloud computing
We cannot
applications.
see you.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Gaming, as I was mentioning, it's also another form of mobile cloud computing, which allows users to sync with the cloud server and save data. Mobile cloud game applications have the potential to generate market revenues for service providers. Game engines require large computing resources such as X graphic rendering to use the server on the cloud. We also have the most another common one, which is the social media. Social media application allows group of mobile users to upload audio, video, or we can say that multimedia data for real-time sharing. It provides not only storage for data but also security to protect secrecy and integrity of data. In addition to this, I'll be showing you the mobile cloud computing architecture. Mobile devices are connected to the mobile network via base stations like access point or satellite base transceiver stations. The stations established and control the connections and functional interfaces between network and mobile devices. Mobile network operators services to mobile users such as AAA. Here, AAA stands for authentication, authorization, and accounting based on the home agent (HA). And subscriber data stored in a database, and the request of a subscriber is sent to the cloud through the internet. Some of the references which I have used in my presentation today is on your screen, and thank you all.
Thank you, Sumit. That was good information. Who wants to go next? Safia, please go ahead. Thank you. Sumit, you'll have to stop sharing your screen.
Hi guys, can you guys see my screen? Hello?
We can see your screen and now we can hear you, but we cannot see you.
Hi guys.
Hi. Please go ahead,
I'm
Safia.
sorry. Okay, I've done a very simple presentation basically. So basically introducing mobile cloud computing, it's just having a mobile phone which is connected to the cloud using internet. So if you have to use a good mobile phone so that you have the best of mobile cloud computing, you have to have one of the best display resolutions and the bandwidth. And one of the other things to consider is vendor lock-ins, the applications you use depending on the brand of your phone, the applications which you can basically access. The main idea is mobile serves as a presentation platform or a display because data and information is stored and processed in the cloud. The advantages are thinner devices, less processing power and less power consumption and less storage requirements. The other paper that I was interested in was on the 2017 recent advances delivered by mobile cloud computing and Internet of Things for big data applications. Something which took my interest out was Internet of Things. The main strength of the idea is the high impact that it has on several aspects of our everyday life. So using a mobile phone, basically sitting at work or at home, there's so much you can do, like literally plan your movies out, pay for your movies, or you can just order dinners as well. Like one of the examples I would give using mobile phone would be, I work in Total Fiji Limited, and as one of my transport managers, using his mobile phone while sitting at home, he is able to track all our fuel trucks. There's this application they use, Mixed Telemetrics. So he's able to look at whichever truck driver he would be more aware of. So he can track the speed they're traveling in, their locations, and whatever other information. And these are also recorded, so he can go on later and access them. Moving on, when we look at these at the internet level of things, while being at home with his family, he's able to work, and using that same mobile phone, he can do other things as well. So basically, my idea of mobile cloud computing is how the mobile phone connects you to a smarter home and a smarter city. That's all, and that's my reference. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Safia. Interesting information. Thanks for sharing. Nimaya, you are next.
Okay,
We can hear you, we can see your screen, but we cannot see you.
okay, hold on.
Yeah, it's
Everybody
all
hear
good
me?
now.
All good?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. These are my brief slides on mobile cloud computing. The two, basically, when you separate them, the two technologies are something that we are well aware of. We're mobile technologies and mobile computing, as well as the cloud. But this topic, basically, it's something that has forced us to merge the two together and somehow see it as one. So from my research and from the literature available, this is how we can simplify or basically define this. If someone were to ask you what is mobile cloud computing, it's the merger of this mobile technology that has come in leaps and bounds in the past decades, along with the power and storage offered by cloud computing. So to break it down, these two technologies coming together as one. Some of the motivations for this, I guess, this was probably a natural merger, given that cloud computing and mobile computing were two very popular ideas or technologies that have come up recently. On the mobile side, you've got the size and the fact that it doesn't limit you to a specific area, so it allows for mobility. but the downside to that is the small scale, the size of that device that you have. It limits, there's certain limits on the storage, on processing power, even your network, your wireless strength depends on what type of device you have. The applications that are now being pushed out for mobile devices, you go from the really simple ones to the really data intensive, process intensive applications. Some of the applications that were presented on earlier, email, social media, gaming, etc. Some of these apps put a very big strain on your device. So you need another place where you can that can take care of that processing for you. The last point is the risks associated with your local storage. Basically, your device, theft, encryption is not that strong. So we all lose our phones every few years. The data on that phone is open to whoever has it. So these are some of the natural resolution is to look to the cloud to mitigate some of these risks. And these are some of the service models that we offer, along with some of the software that uses these models, which is software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. So just a quick quiz question to you is to think about what service model is this Zoom session using, and you can probably put your answer in the comment in the chat. Some of the challenges faced: the offloading, computational offloading needs. There has been some research into it. When to do the offloading? At what point in the processing is it offloaded? Fragmented device platforms. So you've got different platforms, Android, Apple, etc., and the different infrastructure used. How is all that brought together in order to access your resources that are on the cloud? The cloud may have unlimited resources, but if you can't get there, if you can't make a link to it and use it, then there's no use. So that link from your device through the infrastructure to the cloud is a big issue. WAN latency also related to that, based on your location, how close you are to your base stations, to your wireless points. That also may determine the response that you get from your cloud application. Energy consumption, this is to do with the size, basically back to the size of the device and the battery life. There has been some breakthrough or some progress, but this still remains a big issue, especially with the apps getting more and more intensive. Part of another downside to mobility is the service disruptions or unavailability, which in fact impacts mobile users more. The last challenge, but not the least, there's more out there. I've just listed these many ones. Is these vendor-specific platforms and technologies, which basically lock us in to a certain provider. So this will sort of bring some barriers towards interoperability amongst other providers, so to speak. So thank you for that, and these are my references.
Thank you, New Mayor. Interesting information as well.
Thank you.
Very well done. Ashmita, you are next. We can see your screen, Ashmita.
Seto ka? Igbo.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Okay, we can see you and we can hear you, but you might have to speak a bit louder.
Okay. Thank you. So I'll just start with the topic that we have been given for this week, which is mobile cloud computing. So what is mobile cloud computing? It's basically an infrastructure where both the data storage and the data processing happen outside of the mobile device. So there is no computational load on your mobile. I'll just go over and go through the process of how it actually happens. So what happens is the user needs to have a mobile device that can be either a laptop, tablet, or a smartphone. All that the user needs is a secure internet connection. And then these devices, they use satellite or access points to connect to the mobile network. And then the central processors actually provide the user with the connection to the internet. And once the internet connection is stable, then the subscribers' requests are then delivered to the cloud using the internet. In the cloud controllers process the request and provide requested services. So I won't go over this in detail because I believe my colleagues have done very well on this. Software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. And this line that has been drawn is basically the division between mobile computing and cloud computing. So the bottom is mobile computing and the top right is the cloud computing. Some examples of things we do daily that are actually mobile cloud computing. So one is online gaming, the other one is audio or video streaming, web browsing, and the last and most popular one, which is use of social networking. So my colleagues have discussed some of the issues in relation to mobile cloud computing, which include security and privacy. So I managed to find a good journal which had a few solutions as well. The first one is policy. So the policy is to basically define the data ownership and maintain privacy of the data. The client should actually know the location of the cloud storage and be able to control whether partially or fully the encryption or decryption of their data. The next one is that there should be compatibility between not only the devices, but also if maybe all the vendors such as Google, Amazon, if all of them had had similar infrastructure, then compatibility for users would have been easier. The other one is to have strong authentication procedures. So basically, there are various types of data available on the cloud, be it health data or someone's personal photographs, etc. So only people who need access to it or who should be given access to it should have access to it. And the last one is security audit. So the journal actually puts forward 2 levels of security audits. The first one is one that measures overall security of the cloud stack, and the second one, it accesses each different service and ensures safety of all the functionalities that the cloud service provides. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashmita. Interesting and very well done. Touching on security, that is good as well. So Rima is next. Rima, we can see your screen. We cannot hear you.
Sir, are you able to hear me?
Now we can hear you, and now we
Yes.
are able to see you as well. Thank you.
Okay. I have a short presentation on mobile cloud computing. First, let's look at the definition of what mobile cloud computing is. When we look at MCC, it's the combination of cloud computing and mobile networks to bring benefits for mobile users, network operators, as well as cloud providers. It actually it refers to an infrastructure where both the data storage and data processing happen outside of the mobile devices. So more like saying that your mobile, the applications that we are going to use there, the data which we are supposed to use, all are stored on the cloud. Two things that I have picked is the MCC application challenges. With the knowledge of what mobile cloud computing is, there is more to it. There are few challenges that are faced to make MCC functional, right? I have picked actually security as a major issue, and out of that security, I have picked two things, which is authentication and authorization. I'm not saying authentication and authorization is not there. It is there. The existing solution is there, but there are loopholes in that. Firstly, let's look at authentication, where all devices that are trying to access anything from MCC needs to be authorized, so that authenticated, so that information is shared with the correct corresponding devices. So far, through the findings, we have achieved one-way authentication, that is from mobile to cloud, but security can be compromised. So more research needs to be done so that authentication is bi-directional, both ways, from mobile to cloud, and reverse, that's vice versa, cloud to mobile, so that we have full authentication. And with that full authentication, we will be able to make the sharing and getting the applications from online at a better perspective. Secondly, let's look at authorization. If we look at authorization, this is where applications get access to data that is authorized. If we look at that, we have authorization, but I think further research should be done there as well, because we want authorization to be given without releasing the user credential. I went through these both words, which is authentication and authorization. It's somewhat similar, but when we look at the difference, authentication is to identify who you are. And when we look at authorization, it's what permissions we have, what data to access. And mobile cloud computing provides both, but needs improvement. That's all that I have. And these are my references. Thank you.
Thank you, Rima. Very informative. And I think some students are doing the research paper on mobile cloud computing. So all this information will be placed on your Moodle page, and you should be able to get information from them. And if you go and relook at the video, you will see who presented what, and you can ask them questions as well. Very well done. S. Prakash? Who is S. Prakash? Okay. Sunit Prakash. Okay. Sunit, we can see your screen.
Okay.
We can see you and we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to give you a short summary of what mobile cloud computing is about. First of all, we all know that mobile devices are very common nowadays, And now mobile devices are becoming abundant with applications in various categories, such as games, entertainment, health, games, business, social networking, health, travels, news, and social networking. So what is basically mobile cloud computing? It's a computing is a development of mobile computing and an extension to cloud computing. Processing and storage of information is carried outside of the mobile devices, and the mobile devices doesn't really need much of the, uh, the CPU speed and the memory capacity, because all the processing and everything happens of the outside of the mobile devices into the cloud. And cloud gives virtually endless resources that can be used by users in an on-demand service. The services in cloud can be accessed by the web browser of the client's mobile devices through the access points or through the thin native clients. The diagram on the right hand side basically shows the basic architecture of mobile cloud computing. As you can see, mobile devices can be connected to the internet through Wi-Fi access points or through the data, such as 3G or 4G access points. And the cloud will offer services such as the computing abilities, providing software as a service, and also the memory allocations. Next is basically this slide talks on one of the paper reviews that I have done. It was a first paper, and what the paper basically tries to give is the same as whatever I presented in the previous slide, except some of the examples of the apps include Gmails, maps, navigation systems, etc. And also the authors, what they are arguing is even though mobile devices has increased the computing power and everything, but it's not going to solve the latency, the network latency, as far as the mobility is concerned. Mobile cloud computing, because mobile cloud computing heavily depends on the quality of network connectivity in order to access the cloud resources. And the diagram on the right hand side basically shows these architecture, and together with the architecture it shows what all the cloud offers, such as the application software as a architecture, the platform, and the infrastructure as a service. And all the descriptions, such as the application consists of the actual software that is used, and it consists of data and information. Platform has business support and development, and the infrastructure consists of the server, the storage, the databases, etc. That was it, and these were my references. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunit. Very informative as well. Next is Ashnil Raj. Ashnil does not have access to a camera on his computer system, so it's going to be only audio, and I'm sure I'll share his slide. Or maybe he has camera and doesn't want to show himself. I don't know.
Hello. Are you able to see my screen?
Ashnil, we can see your screen and we can hear you.
Okay, thanks. Afternoon all. As you may be aware about the mobile cloud computing, what actually mobile cloud computing is, it is the mobile in combination with the cloud. So basically it moves the application and services, the computing power of it and the data storage away from the mobile devices and into a more powerful centralized mobile computing platforms, which is the cloud. So that is your compute and storage is elsewhere. There are three basic models. That is the architecture of it, which is the infrastructure as a service, platform as a service. And
Ashnil, I think you are a bit away from your microphone. So if you could speak louder.
The infrastructure component, the backend, like the data center, which includes your servers, network, storage, etc. And then is your platform as a service. Platform is basically like mostly for developer end, where they are able to work on their components into the cloud end. Then is the software as a service, where the software is basically hosted in the cloud. Well, some also claim there are some other model as well, like the mobile multimedia as a service or mobile testing as a service. But these three models basically suffices the need of the others as well. And there are three flavors of the cloud, which is basically hybrid, private, and public. On the next slide is the structure of how the mobile computing services works. What you have is your mobile end. Over the wireless technology, it is able to communicate on the cloud computing, and it is back and forth from there. Okay, next I have is the advantages and the disadvantages. Okay, the advantages of cloud computing is that there are dynamic provisioning. It also offers scalability, mobility, flexibility, and accessibility. And then there is multi-tenancy, like it allows from one particular backend platform, multiple users to access the same backend. And you have the virtualization platform, the cost is low, and the chances of you to lose your data is very low, like free. However, there are some disadvantages of it. There are some resource challenges. That is like your mobile's battery life, your bandwidth, and your internet. There are security challenges, interoperability. One of the main issues faced is the privacy issue. That is the question of how secure is your data in the cloud. Then we have what if there is a closure of the service provider. That is the, for example, Google. Technology is something like that can close down or change, and no one actually dominates the technology. For example, if Google services close down, then what will actually happen to you and to your data? And what about migration of the data also? From this, the next slide is the conclusion. Mobile computing cloud optimizes the resource usage. It also provides on-demand resources. It reduces the risk of cost. Though there are some challenges that needs to be addressed, data theft, security, and privacy is still an issue. And mobile devices, according to this, should be improved in the future to enable it to act as a smart incline. And the last slide, I have got my references.
Thank you, Asnil. Very well done. Next time with video, please. Deepika, you are next. Deepika, we can see your screen. Please mute your microphone. Kunal, you have to mute your microphone. Kunal Maharaj, please mute your microphone. Ashnil, you do the same. Okay. Deepika, we are ready for you. Deepika, we cannot hear you. Hold on. Let me contact her.
Hello. So can you hear me now?
Yes. We can hear
Okay.
you now. So you'll have to go back and start from scratch.
Okay, thank
From
you.
the beginning.
What is mobile cloud computing? Mobile cloud computing is the use of cloud computing, mobile computing, and wireless networks to bring rich computational services that do not require end users' knowledge of the physical location and the system configuration. Well, it is divided into three basic models: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Infrastructure as a service provides a wide range of infrastructure services, including data center, storage, and networking hardware. Platform as a service, this service is based on the platform where developers are allowed to build applications and services on internet. These services are hosted in the clouds, and users can access this via web browser. Software as a service, users are provided access to application, software, and database. I have listed 4 benefits of mobile cloud computing. It provides better experience to mobile users whose device has limitation on resources and capacities. It saves scalable and elastic high computation and storage facilities available to general public. Developers are able to reach a larger market, and there is no need to build separate versions of application. In the references part, I have used 2 journals from Moodle and 1 internet source. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepika. Right. Who wants to go next? Is there anyone in the ITS lab? Is there anyone in the ITS lab? No one. Okay, I still have on my list the following students that have not presented: Anil Singh, Ashnil, Elvis Chandra, Rajneet, Shafina Shabnam, Sivanesh, Sonal Kumar, Jobe Tamata, and Vignesh. Please volunteer to present. Elvis, please go ahead.
Wait.
Elvis is going to present.
Hello, everyone.
Elvis, we can see your screen. We can see you and we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And today I've done a bit different from others. In fact, I have analyzed a case study, a journal, which was presented by the lecturer. And it's a survey state-of-art future directions in mobile cloud computing by M. Riza Rahimi and the group. So first of all, regarding mobile cloud computing, I know everyone knows the definition of mobile cloud computing. Basically, mobile cloud computing is a combination of mobile computing and cloud computing, right? Cloud computing has been integrated with various fields, and in computing, one of them is mobile cloud computing, and after integration, it is called mobile cloud computing. And in the journal, the MCC models have been presented. Those models are software as a service, which few of the presenters have discussed, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. These particular models are being used in overseas as well as in our country as well. The research is also focused on the MCC applications like mobile learning. These days, people are moving forward in utilizing mobile as a learning tool, mobile commerce, in Fiji, we have started using mobile commerce. Some of the companies are VSP and Vodafone, and mobile healthcare and wellness, and mobile social media, which everybody uses. So basically, the researchers are focusing on the limitations of all these applications, and one of the limitation is bandwidth. And regarding the challenges and opportunities, the researchers have shared information assessing resource limitations in mobile and cloud computing area. One is power consumption of device and execution time efficiency, right? So whenever an application is being used by a user, the level of power consumption to the device sometimes is high, and which drains out the battery. Also, the execution time efficiency is applications takes a lot of time.
Deepika Bandana, please mute your microphone.
And secondly, cloud computing can be very costly. Some countries, the cloud computing are cheaper, whereas in some countries it's very costly, like ours, and third world country and developing countries, it's a bit expensive to operate. So the researchers are working on technologies in ways to enhance the accessing of applications via cloud. Offloading methods. The researchers have identified there's two which needs to be worked on. One is client-server architecture, and the other one is virtualization. Cloud-nets have also been mentioned in the research for accessing the applications in a more easier way. Next is alleviating limitations in wireless communications bandwidth. The time the research paper was written, I think 4G was in full force. At the moment, 5G is around. So the impact on the system performance, the authors have talked about the impact 4G has on the system performance of certain applications and the power consumptions. Therefore, we can now say, what if 5G comes in around, and what will be the impact on the performance of certain applications and certain devices? What will be the power consumption on those devices? Next is power consumption in hybrid network. Since we are gradually upgrading our network, so there's possibility that uniformity is not around. So if a device is using WiMAX, what if it goes around and use a normal Wi-Fi? What will be the applications performance on those devices, as well as the power consumptions on those devices? The other one is network coding. What's the chances of quality of service being affected by this network coding, or delay, reliability, and power consumption on those devices using hybrid network? Moving on, there was talk about privacy and security in a shared service ecosystem. What the researchers have pointed out is that cryptographic and authentication operations can slow down the application. So there needs to be much more research on these areas done, so that our applications are much more streamlined. There are a lot of research gaps which the authors have shown. One of it which I have picked is mobile big data. A lot of communication has been occurring, so there is lots of mobile data which needs to be effectively used. The design of efficient strategies and policies needs to be in place for better resource allocation in mobile cloud computing for big data applications. So basically, there's lots of data around, and what are the strategies that we need to take in order to streamline those applications to access, so that the user can efficiently access the applications and the data with minimum bandwidth around, right? So I've got a journal which I'll show it in the reference section. I've got a solution where allocation of resources are being research has been done by one group where linear programming method, stochastic optimization method, and robust optimization methods were used to check the best possible option available to access those applications with minimum bandwidth. So regarding robust optimization, it has said that it would be good for the vendor, but not for the user. It would be more like a money-making type, whereas stochastic optimization would be benefit for the vendor and the user. That's all from my side. I've used the journals for the following references. And thank you.
Thank you, Elvis. Next time we expect to see some graphics on your slides.
Okay.
Text becomes too boring. Anyway, thank you for that. Jobet Tamata is next.
Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you and we can see you, but we cannot. Okay, you. And now we can see your presentation.
All right.
You are good to go ahead.
Thank you. My presentation tonight will be on mobile edge computing. Mobile edge computing is an architecture whereby computational resources and storage resources are actually placed on the edge of a mobile network. How do you do? So, now, if you can see, if you see on the screen, this is how a cloud architecture looks like. Now, the problem with using this architecture is when there is a lot of users that are using applications that require computational data to be used and resources to be acquired. The cloudlet architecture, which I'm just showing on the screen, has less efficiency of providing this. And with regards to using wireless, the users that are not in the range of the area which the wireless access point covers, they are in a disadvantage. So with that, researchers have come up with a technology called mobile edge computing, where a mobile edge computing server is actually placed at the edge of the mobile network. And as I've mentioned before, in my earlier limitation of the cloudlet architecture, when there is a lot of applications that require computation, it usually goes right up to the cloud. But with this design that's been put in place, computation is done within the network or within the mobile network, and nothing, and there's less collaboration with the cloud or going through the internet. This is a great advantage in providing less latency when using mobile application. Example, using video games, playing video games online. You wouldn't expect latencies when this architecture is placed, or when this architecture is being used. Now, the challenges with this is, as some of the presenters before have mentioned, it's security. Well, data has been passed across through a wireless form, and there's always a risk of intrusion of data by hackers or people who want to intrude into accessing the data that has been taken across to the service. And also pricing. And the example that I've mentioned before for gaming, the gaming software will have to offer price, and the mobile edge computing resource, or the vendor that will be providing that those resources will want a share of information of the amount that's been used in the infrastructure. So the pricing would be something that they will have to discuss for the different entities. And also, web browser, some of the web browsers are, they have problems when they access mobile edge computing, and this would be something that would be a challenge when it's been loaded up on those mobile apps. This was just a few things that I picked up in my research for mobile edge computing, and these are references that I used. Thank you.
Thank you, Jobe. Quite interesting as well. Rajneet, you are next. Rajneet, we can see your screen. You are doing something in Notepad++. That's good.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. My video.
And we can see you. We are good to go.
Good. Okay, so mobile computing, I am focusing on leveraging the cloud for mobile. Okay, and what is mobile cloud computing? It's the use of cloud computing to host and deliver applications and resources to mobile devices. As you guys all know, what cloud computing is already, it's using computer technology, scalable computer technology over the internet. So this is just an extension of that with the use of mobile devices. Why mobile cloud computing? I guess if you guys go back in time and remember the time when Nokia 3315, 3310, these guys were around, you guys would remember their battery used to last like a week or so. And why was that? The main reason was the technology used back then. And technology and also all the applications on our mobile phones back then. Nowadays, all the applications that we're using on our mobile phones are quite processor intensive. So with the use of mobile cloud computing, we can develop systems in which tasks that are usually performed on the local devices can be outsourced to the cloud. And considerations such as the mobile OS, the device size, version, the computational capacity are all minimized. You don't really have to worry too much about that because the cloud will handle all that for you. The apps that are currently not supported on the platforms that you are using, for example, if you're using an Android phone, and some of the applications that are only available on iOS or the Windows platform, you won't have to worry about that either because from the cloud you'll be able to have like cross-platform applications. Okay, leveraging mobile cloud computing. The primary functionality outsourcing, like rigorous tasks are ported to the clouds, leaving less intensive tasks to still be executed on your phone itself. These tasks are like face recognition, speech recognition, voice indexing. All these tasks can be all performed on the cloud rather than your phone. And secondly, background augmentation, tasks that are not needed to be performed immediately, which includes like system checks, health checks. All these tasks can be moved to the cloud and leaving your mobile with like free space, free processing capacity, etc. Mainline augmentation. Users can pick a specific application to run in an augmentative fashion over the cloud. In this way, the application will basically work the same. It will all look the same for you. It will as if it will feel like that you're using it from your phone, but the execution method of that application itself will be on the cloud. Hardware augmentation, a virtual clone of the mobile software is created on the cloud, which is then modified to support high-level application previously beyond its computational capacity. Some challenges, elasticity and scalability. This basically deals with resource allocation. It's crucial it's crucial to have like scalability and elasticity in terms of resource allocation. When a cloud service provider allocates resources to say a mobile device, it takes into account the CPU, the memory, the processing power, bandwidth resource that it might need, and it's very difficult to achieve this scalability and elasticity based on the demands of users, the workloads, and the prediction, how can you predict that how much resources would you need for a particular task. And furthermore is security, and under security is authentication, authorization, and data integrity. Like one of my colleagues previously mentioned, in terms of authentication, we need bilateral authentication, which is authentication from mobile to the cloud and cloud back to the mobile. Authorization is basically authorizing the applications from the cloud to access your mobile device. Like how could we trust, like the trust bit of the application to, like not exploit data on your mobile. And lastly, it's the data integrity. This deals with basically encryptions. Our mobile devices are not equipped with enough processing power to encrypt all the data. If it was on a laptop or probably a server or something, it would be done in minutes. But the mobile devices, it will take ages to do. So these are some of the challenges that we are looking at. And as for my references, there you go. Any questions? Nope.
Okay, probably no questions. Thank you. Well done. Shonal Kumar is next. We can see your presentation, Shonal.
Yes. Can you hear me, sir?
We can hear you fine.
Okay. All right.
And we can see you.
Yep.
Please go ahead.
Okay. So my presentation is on mobile cloud computing. And as you all know, mobile cloud computing is a technique or model in which mobile applications are built, powered, and hosted using cloud computing technology. This was the definition that I got off Technopedia. And sort of my own understanding of mobile cloud computing is mobile cloud computing enables mobile devices to perform tasks that would not be possible without the use of complex systems or large storage mediums. Some of these is like, for example, when you're using Facebook on your mobile or when you're checking mails on the Gmail app. When you're playing games online, you just need internet connection and the server is hosted somewhere else on the cloud. On the cloud meaning in a different geographical location. And this is basically just a diagram to show that. Moving on. My next slide is on cloudlets. And this is basically a comprehension from the article titled The Future of Mobile Cloud Computing. Integrated clouds and mobile edge computing talks about limitation of cloudlets and this article talks about limitations of cloudlets and how mobile edge computing helps promote this. So cloudlets provide cloud services to the mobile users with the coverage of their Wi-Fi access point. It is a small-scale cloud data center located at the edge of the internet. Cloudlet servers have limited storage capacity, and this is one of the limitations. And another limitation is cloudlet Wi-Fi is also limited in range. And to enhance this, there's a technology introduced, which is mobile edge computing. Mobile edge computing allows to connect through cellular networks. This boosts the capacity of mobile cloud computing such that it is not limited to connectivity through Wi-Fi only, but rather promotes connectivity through mobile networks such as LTE. So looking at this diagram here, you can see that these are these are cloudlet server, and these devices can only access this through the Wi-Fi access point, and they cannot connect to the the core cloud. And to do this, they need to connect through LTE or 4G, 3G, basically cellular networks, which allows connectivity in more range. And these are my references which I've used, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shonal. Very well done. Okay, I think all of you here have presented by now, and I would like to thank you for that. And that brings us to the end of this session on mobile cloud computing, where I'm sure we have learned a lot from each other. Oh, sorry, we have got one more to go. Kunal Maharaj, please go ahead. Kunal Maharaj, please go ahead and present. Kunal, we can see your screen. Now we cannot.
Say apologies. Finding it a
No
little
problems.
difficult here.
Please share your screen. Okay. Big data analysis. Are we doing big data analysis today? I thought we were doing mobile cloud computing.
Sorry, sir. I was doing the research on this one, so I thought that's why I kept it. I wanted to send you a message regarding this. We were doing our research on this one because we have chosen this as our project. So I thought of presenting this. I was aware that about mobile cloud computing, but since we had this, so I thought I would, if you give allowance to that.
Okay, okay. We are always willing to learn something new. This is out of ordinary, but yeah, tell us about big data.
Okay, thank you for that allowance. In fact, we had chosen this to be our project domain for our assignment. So we had what I was actually doing. I downloaded a few papers and started on my research. So I thought of doing a small presentation on this. We all know about big data analysis and the transformation between the traditional data and the data warehousing has how it has moved over time due to technological advancements and due to cloud computing, the ability to store and create data warehousing on the cloud itself. So with regards to the data analysis, I have certain characteristics of big data analysis as well as a little bit of the data mining aspects, which is one of the very big knowledge data mining tools from the big data that we happen to have at hand. So the three characteristics of big data due to our findings is the volume, velocity, and the variety. So it's a scale, rather than it being a scalar quantity, the three V's have been determined to be a vector because it also contains, so it's not just about numbers and data in string, it's also about the geospatial data. And something surprising that we are coming up with is the ability to mine on graphics as well in terms of structured and unstructured data along with text as well as log files, and mostly through the social media, because we all know that social media comprises of so many data readily available at hand. Everybody's, to some extent, everybody's personal data is also housed elsewhere apart from our normal personal computers. It is all on the cloud, and we can negate on the fact that security can also play a very big factor in terms of the data that we share, and most of it could be our personal data and our information as well. So moving from the traditional database systems, which were designed to address smaller volumes of structured data, fewer and updates, or a predictable and consistent data structure, big data also includes various types of data, including text mining as well as graphics. So the next slide that I would like to present on is just a comparison of the traditional analytics in terms of business analytics and intelligence as well versus the big data. So while the traditional analytics focus on analytics descriptive, we have predictive and data science analytics in terms of the big data, and there's a correlation in terms of the near site and accurate. We are able to, what I'm trying to tell is that we are able to extract knowledge rather than information, while traditional databases and traditional data was focused on extracting information out of the data sets in the databases. We are slowly moving in terms of extracting knowledge. Example of we're using data mining as part of this. So some of the data mining that comes into place is the discovery of useful and possibly unexpected patterns. So there could be machine learning as well, they're taking part. I'll move on to the next slide. While data mining is one aspect that we can utilize as part of big data analysis, there's descriptive, predictive ways of finding or classifying information as part of data mining. For instance, classifying is one of the methods. Clustering, association rule that we use. Association is the recommender system that we are using, especially on Amazon and YouTube or eBay. When we are going to buy anything, then there's recommendations that users who have viewed this have also viewed that. One of the amazing facts that I was going through while reading is that Amazon is making it's a $1 billion industry, Amazon, and it's making 40% of its total profit from the recommender systems. We usually go on Amazon in trying to buy something, and usually we get deviated from what we want through the recommendation system. So the viewers or the users who have bought this have also bought this as well. So they make 40% of the entire profit based on their recommender system, which is actually using the technique of data mining, which is association rule. So another text that I was going through as part of big data analysis comprising of data mining is the ability to extract text out of volumetric and very large data. For instance, from Facebook, how do we annotate and define possession? I had this particular text on possession identification from text. So it includes comprising or designing of an algorithm which is able to annotate which part of the speech or which parts of the sentence is, or how do they actually do text mining out of, or how are they able to find possession out of the actual sentences and things like that. So text mining, and another interesting fact is dealing with graph mining. So that concludes my presentation for the day. What I wanted to do was to incorporate data mining as part of big data analysis, and that's why I think I'll be stopping for the day. And thank you for giving an allowance to move a little aside from mobile cloud computing to data mining. Thank you, sir. If there's any questions, then.
Thank you, Kunal. Yes, interesting what we are able to do with data mining, because data mining reveals things that are not very obvious, and a lot of companies are using data mining to gain business intelligence and stay in the competition, and that's why I'm looking forward to your research paper on this topic.
Thank you, sir.
Anyway, so we have come to the end of this session. Anyone would like to ask any question or has any comment or anything? If not, okay, we'll call it a day. Thank you for attending, and see you next week. And please do keep on checking your course Moodle page, because now and then it gets updated with new materials. That's all for now. See you next week.
Waktu media ke ulung sampai ngapain? Unmute.